Hi guys, Jenny with On Fire Fit, and welcome to day 4 of our battle plan to defeat giants. I am so glad you're with me today, and we are going to still explore the word discipline. There's a quote that you probably have heard before. Discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want more. This is critical to discipline because we have to look at the big picture. We always have to keep the vision in our head of why it matters in the little decisions of today, what we are trying to achieve. If you lose sight of the big goal, it will be very easy to cave in your little day-to-day moments. So choose between what you want now and what you want more. We already know you want something more because you're here. You're here with me. And I want more, and that's why we are willing to discipline. It's going to take a lot of our attention, and that's okay because discipline actually produces that fruit, that harvest that we're looking for. And if you think about it with soldiers are disciplined. They don't decide on one day I'm going to make my bed with my hospital corners and the next day I'm just going to leave it a big mess. They don't decide on some days to listen to their commander-in-chief and other days to go and do their own thing. They have made a commitment and a decision that this is what they are going to do. And when you don't battle in your mind every day about those daily decisions, those choices, and the discipline, it will become not only a habit, but it will be so much easier on you because right now there's a tug of war in your mind. I want that cupcake, but I really want to be healthier and lose some weight. But I've been so good, and so why don't, it's okay just to treat myself this once. No, it's not, because you know what happens. You always want 2, 3, 4, 5 more. But I've been so good. And this is where we get into this battle back and forth, tug of war in our minds. We have to stop with that. We have to decide that the discipline is a choice we've made and it's decided. And we're not going to play that game anymore. We are going to be like a soldier in the army and discipline ourselves because the beauty of it, it becomes a habit. And then you don't feel that tension inside anymore. So stick with the plan. Let's move forward. Hebrews 12, starting at verse 7. Join me. Endure hardship as discipline. God is treating you as children. For what children are not disciplined by their father? If you are not disciplined, and everyone undergoes discipline, then you are not legitimate. You are not true sons and daughters at all. Moreover, we have all had human fathers who disciplined us, and we respected them for it. How much more, how much more should we submit to the Father of our spirits and live? Our fathers disciplined us for a little while as they thought best, but God disciplines us for our good, that we may share in his holiness. No discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it. Discipline is going to produce a harvest. And I think everybody wants a harvest. Not everybody wants to plant the seeds. But I think you do because you're here with me and you're working through this exercise. So be ready to plant those seeds. And even though you don't get to see them for a while, they're underground, they are growing, and they will produce a harvest. But we need the daily planting of the seeds. We need to have the diligence to water those seeds and pay attention to them. And that is where you need to keep that vision strong in your head, that discipline is going to produce a harvest in the long run. So as you go through, make your plan, decide what discipline you are going to work through and stick to. Be ready to stay resolved despite what your body and mind and soul sometimes try to pull you away from. Anticipate messages that come at you that are encrypted. And I gave an example in the handout that I wrote, but I'm going to give you the example in my explanation of it. So I have had a long-term history with my jaw. When I've talked a lot, even making these videos, I will find that my jaw really aches and hurts. I've seen zillions of different professionals. I've prayed over it. I've had many people pray over it. And yet, at the end of the day, after a lot of talking, it will oftentimes really ache. And I could take Advil. I could drink a glass of wine. And guess what? The glass of wine is just a little more fun than the Advil. And yeah, I don't get into overindulgence, but I did notice that if I do have wine, a lot of my other things that I had planned, my goals, the things that I feel like God wants me to do, kind of don't matter as much. I'll wait until tomorrow. I'm not sober-minded, and therefore the devil kind of is able to creep up on me and throw off my focus. And I've decided that that is not something that I want to continue in. There's going to be special occasions when I'll have a glass of wine, and that's fine. But I'm not going to rely on it to handle this problem, because it's actually one of the giants that's trying to stand in the way of what is God's best for me. So I have decided, when it comes to that point and it's hurting, I pray about it. I give it over to God. I have essential oils that I'll massage into it. As a last resort, I might take Advil. But 9 times out of 10, the ache calms down. God intervenes and handles it for me. And it's not taking me off track anymore. And so my way of defeating that giant was I had to take that encrypted message coming at me. Oh, you need it for your jaw. It's really not bad. It's good for your heart. All the things that come through in these messages that kind of confuse us, I had to decode it and realize that the message was coming through in a way that was actually taking me off track. So what messages might come at you that you need to decode? Think one step ahead of the enemy and be ready to fight back. So I will see you tomorrow. Thanks so much for being with me. God bless you, and go live on fire.